about the horror anthology movie that we love so much? Is it because it's a comic book come to life? Is it because it helps with people with ADD with quick stories put together? I don't know exactly, but I do know that I love a good horror anthology movie. I like them in doses. It's not like I ever binge horror anthology movies, but over the years I know that we've all seen a bunch, and we all love a bunch of these movies, and they become part of our horror folklore, movies we share with our families and friends that you say, you gotta see this movie, or you gotta see this movie. So I thought, let's make my top 5 favorite horror movie anthologies. What's gonna be interesting about this is when it comes to horror anthology pieces, a lot of times it's the low budget charming ones that really grab me, as opposed to the bigger production, higher budgeted movies that you may expect to be a number 1 on a list like this. So I want you to keep that in mind. These are my favorites, but that's not saying that they are the best. Coming in at number 5 for me is none other than Creepshow 2. A charming little sequel to one of the greatest horror anthology movies probably ever made, and one of the greatest horror movies ever made probably, Creepshow. I don't know what it is about this lower budget one that I love so much, but it's charming. I really love Old Chief Woodenhead. I love the raft and all that swamp and mucky stuff coming towards him that eats him alive. It's just charming. I love it. I can't really remember the first time I watched Creepshow 2. I just kind of remember always knowing the movie existed. It's one of those weird things. I have other movies like that, and I can't really remember the first time I ever watched these movies. I really enjoy it. It's a fun little horror anthology piece, and it's a yearly watch for me. I watch it at least once or twice a year. Coming in at number 4 for me, and the Crypt Keeper is going to be happy about this, that's Demon Knight. Really like Demon Knight. I know there's another one called Bordello of Blood. Wasn't too crazy about that one. That one wasn't as good to me. Demon Knight was really like just the great classic Tales from the Crypt movie. I think this was done right at the tail end of the TV show, so it's like they were kind of just wrapping things up in movie fashion, so that's really cool. And Demon Knight is just really, really good. It feels like Tales from the Crypt, just a little bit bigger budget. The first story in Demon Knight is my favorite. I really like that one, but all of them are really good. Demon Knight is a fun watch and a really good Tales from the Crypt movie. If you haven't seen Demon Knight, highly suggest checking it out. Coming in at number 3 for me is none other than from the master of horror himself, John Carpenter, with Body Bags. Body Bags is a movie I saw probably 2 or 3 years ago. I'd heard about it and I just said, Anthology and John Carpenter? I don't know about that. I'm very glad that I did watch this movie because, quite honestly, I really, really loved it. And what was great about this, I really like all the anthology pieces in this the same. I love the gas station at night with all the cameos from Wes Craven. It's great stuff. I really like the Where's My Hair? And I love the last story with Mark Hamill as the one-eyed baseball player. It's great, and I think Tobe Hooper even directed that last one as well. What's really great about this is seeing John Carpenter play his version of the Crypt Keeper, if you will, between the movies. It's funny, and he looks like he's actually having fun. Seeing John Carpenter laugh is something you don't typically see. He's usually like one that doesn't like doing interviews, isn't laughing and joking around. He's just a guy who keeps himself and he's quiet. So seeing him laugh and have a good time in this was genuinely nice to see. Coming in at number 2 for me, and my number 2 and number 1, I love these movies so much it's not even funny. You guys may not see this coming, but my number 2, shout out to you, Devon Graham, Tales from the Hood. I absolutely love this anthology piece. This was an anthology piece I had never seen, and once I saw Scream Factory put it out, I picked it up. Had always heard of the movie, would see it on the Blockbuster shelf growing up, and when I finally got my hands on Tales from the Hood and watched it, I was absolutely in love with it. It feels so classic horror. It was 1995 or 96. You've got a great Crypt Keeper with the Einstein-looking guy. He's funny, and it touches on elements that are true in today's world. I have seen the sequel, Tales from the Hood 2, and that was pretty lousy. But the first Tales from the Hood is absolutely classic horror, and I really, really do love this movie. If you haven't checked out Tales from the Hood, I urge you to give this movie a shot. This is a really, really good anthology piece. I do want to give a couple honorable mentions. I don't really want to call Creepshow an honorable mention because it is arguably one of the best horror movies ever, but it's not one of my favorite anthology pieces. These are my favorite. That's an important thing to keep in mind, but I do want to mention the movie Creepshow. I can't do an anthology ranking without even saying Creepshow at least. And I also want to give an honorable mention to Tales from the Dark Side, the movie, another good anthology piece. But my number 1 favorite anthology horror movie is Trick or Treat. I just really, really love this movie. It gives you everything you want. What's better than a good anthology movie than on the holiday of Halloween? That's our 2 favorite things as horror fans. Horror and Halloween. So when you mix them together, you can't lose. I talked about Trick or Treat on a recent Christian's Cult Classics, and I really love that this movie didn't get the big release that it probably should have gotten, but the people grabbed it, and now it's this legendary horror movie that everybody loves. Trick or Treat rose from the ashes in true Halloween fashion and has now become a staple in horror movie fans' shelves. There's my top 5 favorite anthology horror movies, emphasis on the word favorite. I cannot wait to see what you guys like for anthology horror movies. I'm hoping there's a couple that you guys will put on your list that I haven't seen, because right now I'm in the mood for a good anthology horror movie, and I hope this movie inspires some of you guys to go check out some anthology horror movies too. This is Christian Hanna Horror. Please be sure to give this video a like, drop a comment below, tell me which movies you love. Also be sure to hit the bell so you never miss an upload. Check my descriptions for my Teesprings and other great stuff like that. Until next time, we'll see you guys later.